Hey guys, I'm going to try out this stream setup. I'm going to record just a game analysis of my recent game against the Tennessee Titans and Perry. I'm just going to do the second half and see how this turns out. So for context, this was actually the second half. We had a disconnect at halftime, restarted it, played a half, and then send the game. So what we're going to look at is starting the game up 3. And let's get right into kickoff. So it's basically a 13-10 game at this point, and it was a very close game really up until the end. So first, when I set up on offense, this is going to mimic what you would see at the beginning of a game. I personally don't really do any coaching adjustments on offense. When I get to the defensive side, we'll cover that a little bit. I've covered that in chat before as well, and what I do and why. So you'll see I call oftentimes from my concept. In this case, I'm opening up, and you'll see me often open up. Off in the game, and certainly on first downs, I want to cover kind of what I'm doing here. So we have 2 tight ends, running back, and 2 wide receivers. You'll notice that I'm in a quick passing play. We've got 1 deep route in case they're greedy, but for the most part, we've got 3 short routes and a check down. I like to open first downs with this type of play, and I will mix it up. You know, I might have some outs, I might have some seams up there, so I do have to keep a defense honest. But the point is, I want an easy completion. Again, I'm looking for 5-6 yards on first down is fantastic. I don't try to win the game all in one play. The other benefit here is, I've talked about this before, you don't want to be predictable on first down where the moment they see 2 wide receivers, they know, okay, he's running the ball, and they just load up with a really heavy set. You'll notice Perry, because again, this is the second half. We've already played a whole half. He's got 2 deep safeties. He's got, he's in what looks to be basically might be big nickel, depending on who that guy is. But it's not like a really heavy box here. You can kind of see this could be a good running option right here. I don't remember what I did. I'm going to kind of go cold on this one and give the analysis as I see it. So again, I don't love this look for a little quick out. He's showing cover 2, right? He's off, so he's unlikely in man. So this is likely a hard flat. We'll see what happens post snap. Obviously, there's plenty of ways to disguise your coverages. But what I would expect, again, I don't know what I did, so we'll see if it makes me look stupid. I would expect this out to be covered up by the flat. This vertical on the left side should be fairly covered by this deep safety if he is in fact in cover 2. These guys over here maybe can bust the zone depending on what these 3 guys do, but for the most part, this is not like the greatest play. I think I was testing to see if it was cover 1, which actually it was not cover 2. So he had that guy open over the middle. That's just a very quick read. Can I kind of look at it again? So what I'm looking post snap is, my first read is here. He was playing off, so I wasn't really sure if it was cover 2. If you see a guy off like that, that's probably a bad call by me just now. See, got a little bit further off. It's unlikely to be cover 2. Could have been cover 1 there, just masked, or some kind of cover 3, maybe even cover 4. So as you can kind of see, this is the first read. I didn't love the positioning here. My eyes are probably around here. So you want to use your peripheral vision. At this point, I should, if I was playing well, have eyes on the fact that that's the user. This is kind of my first read. And right here, you can kind of see the middle of the field's coming open, right? This guy's trailing, he's out of position, boom, quick read, go, got 10 yards. You won't usually get 10 there, got 15 yards in fact. But that's how you want to be making those quick reads. All right, so next I'm going to go into an RPO alert here. I'm looking to run the ball. I like mixing in some RPOs. Number 1, some of the runs are actually pretty good. I don't have a playbook with like a gajillion types of runs that I love, and so RPOs are a good way to open that up, and obviously just having that back pocket pass in case you need it. I run far more often than I pass on an RPO, but again, the pass is great to have available if they are kind of cheating a little bit. So with this, again, your read is right here, of course. It's just a basic run to the outside of the right. Not bad. It's kind of 3v4 sort of, maybe 3v3 a little bit. It's not bad because this guy's playing off a little bit, so there's an opportunity to get a block and have him come out into space and maybe spring someone, but it's not like the best look ever for the run, but it's fine. So I'm looking at, all right, so he's backing off. This is what I would call fool's gold. So what you really want to do is, are they charging? This guy will take 2 steps back and watch what happens over the next like second. See how it strafes over there? If I had made this pass, I see guys do this all the time. Number one, might get sacked. It's kind of a fake sack. It's just a bad read. It's not a sack so much as a bad read. But even this guy wasn't here because again, these guys are all run blocking, right? They're not pass blocking on this backside. So you really have to hand off here. Even if these guys weren't here though, this is a bad read. And this guy kind of baits and he'll do it every time. It's a good defensive play. He's in really good position. If he kind of steps back and over to the left, that is not a pass you should make. At best, it'll be no gain. You might even lose a yard and you slightly risk, getting it jarred out for a fumble or every once in a while an interception. So hand this one off, take what they give, ends up being an 8-yard run. All right, so 2nd and 2. You can't be predictable and take a shot every time, but this is where I'll certainly like to get a good deep shot. I want that as an option. So you have Hopkins on a double move here. We'll see if he leaves him on an island. This looks like it's cover 1. So that's not a bad look. Oftentimes a good free safety can get over in time. So we'll see what happens. In terms of blocking protection, my left guard is someone I like to slide to. So I'm probably sliding left here. I know there's some adjustments that are happening really quickly. I'm sliding in nearly every play call. So kind of my read here is I want to see what the safety does. Do I have Hopkins in what might be a deep pass? I actually don't even remember if I threw this. If I don't feel good about it, I'm probably just going to hit the drag. I'm probably not going to mess with A or B too much. I do want to leave A on a route. You could put him on a double team here, and maybe we'll see if that's what I do to give you time for the double move. Because again, like that, did I do max protect there? No, not yet. The double move does take a while. So I chose to keep him on the route. The reason for that is just to gain defensive attention. Sometimes there's routes that you have no interest in throwing because, again, I'm not going to be paying attention to these guys over here. You can't read the entire field. So my read is here. All right, so he's kind of flat-footed. So I kind of feel good about this. Now he's usering, so even though he kind of slid over that way and I liked the read, at this point, I think I'm kind of pot committed. So I actually end up going deep that side. That was kind of an adjustment. You saw, I saw that safety coming over, and not only the safety was over, but I mean, the corner's in pretty good position. He doesn't fall for the double move really. He's in really good position there. I didn't love the slant, not a great angle there. So I just decided to take a shot one-on-one to Will Fuller, and you'll see what I do here because he's got his back to the ball a little bit. I kind of like switch. I don't do this every time. I'm not good enough to do this every time, but switch, making adjustments. This is an A catch right here. That's actually an A catch, not a Y catch. So slightly higher chance of completion. You have to be careful to know where that defender is and not get intercepted. All right, so 3rd and 2. So I'll really mix things up on 3rd and 2 a lot. I'm a very willing runner on 3rd and 2. I think a lot of guys here are. But oftentimes I will come out in a pass and see what the defense is giving me, because it's that way I can come out in the pass that I like and audible to a run if it's a front that I like. So in this case, I just pick a basic little quick pass play, like a stick concept is really good to get a couple yards on. All right, you kind of see there's my stick concept, right? Like we're going to basically put pressure on this defender. They're showing too deep. Could be cover 2. They're not pressing, so it could be like a cover 4. It doesn't look like man from here because even though he's kind of lined up, there's nobody lined up over here. I don't know if Perry does base alignment. I doubt it. So my guess is something like a cover 4 at this point. And honestly, in game, I'm not even necessarily going, hey, it's cover 4, cover 6, or cover what. It could be anything. The point is, it's 2 deep safeties. All right, so I have to be aware for multiple short zones, but really, this clears it up. There's only one guy defending these two routes, right? He can't cover the sideline and this guy all at once. So that's kind of my read. Is going to be, so what is he doing, and what can I do with that? Sometimes my read will be the slant first, but in this case, it's very clear what he's doing is going to affect this. All right, I remember this play. I made a very bad play. So he actually comes up. So I'm going to talk about this for a second. I talk about how Perry would have beat me. So this was cover 2. So this guy's covered up, this guy's covered up, and this guy's about to be covered up. The right play is actually X. So he got bumped a little bit off the line, but he's going to do the vertical. Because this is a hard flat, and you'll see here in a moment, Perry protects the sticks. right? So he's literally standing right here. So he's even playing shallower than a hard flat. He is like standing 1 yard past the line of scrimmage, which means he should probably have this guy covered. A normal hard flat will cover up RB, right? You just completely take it away. In fact, that's what kind of threw me off. I thought he was beat on a man route. I thought he just got burned on the release. Actually, what happened is he was coming up to protect the sticks. In my opinion, for those, when it's like 3rd and 2 and you're on defense, I don't think you need to protect the sticks on a hard flat. Now, it is really good that he put him in a hard flat to protect against, you know, this very same concept. This is really good. This should have everything covered up, and this guy would be wide open. This would have been the right read. I did not make the right read here. Maybe you could find the slant, but this will be really risky. This guy will continue to go. By the time it opens up, Evans might have him. Slant is generally a bad throw. This guy's covered. Again, X is the play, right? Cover 2 hard flat. That sideline's going to be out. You lead outside. You do a possession catch. The safety won't be able to get over there in time. Instead, I throw to RB right here. Now, because he's protecting the sticks, he's way out of position. A hard flat would be more like right here and still in position to, I mean, he would just have this completely covered up. But instead, he protected the sticks. He kind of outthought himself a little bit. You don't really need to protect the sticks on something that's only 2 yards away. And as a result, I kind of have this sideline route available. That would be a weird, that's why it looked weird, is because in the NFL, so it's Tampa 2 again. He did, all you need to do is turn those into hard flats, and that would have been swallowed up. All right, so now 1st and 10. Again, you kind of notice these are all 2 wide receiver formations. I'm going to come out just in another play out of 2 wide receiver. I was doing a lot. I like to start games running and see how guys defend it, and then if it makes sense, I'll mix in some more 2 wide receiver passes. I do want them to get comfortable with the fact that I'm going to run on 1st down out of 2 wide receiver sets, because a lot of guys will go into all autopilot. They'll go, oh, you know, my first 2 first downs, if I run out of heavier sets, they're like, all right, that's what this guy does, and then they'll start giving me formations like this, right? This is tough to run into. I don't know the personnel here. That's Jarrell Casey. You can tell by the star. But for the most part, this is not a defensive formation that I really want to run into. So obviously Hopkins, first read on the outside there. See how that goes. Second read is A. There's not really a good 3rd read. So hit that. Boom. All right, bad throw, but that's the right read there. He had good position. So he wasn't cover 1. Yeah, I mean, a quick out will do really well versus cover 1 there. So 2nd and 10, this is where you will oftentimes see me mix in runs. Now, all kinds of runs, right? So it could be a draw. In this case, I picked halfback wham. It could be trap, it could be dive, it could be stretch, anything really. But I like running on 2nd down. I preach it. You'll kind of see me do it here. Now, this is a weird kind of unique play. So I don't love running against these pinch fronts. You've seen it. I'll show in other games at times where there are guys in the league that pinch like almost every time. Perry is one of them, and I'll just punish them with like 50-yard runs to the outside. I kind of call this cheating to take away dives and traps, and by cheating I don't mean that in a negative sense. I just mean that they're so afraid of the dive or the trap for 4 or 5 yards that they'll risk a 40, 50, 60-yard play. And now I'm not often going to get it. You know, oftentimes they'll just be a 2, 3, 4, 5-yard run, and that's fine. But this opens up huge runs. I forgot exactly who it was that I just killed doing that like 2 or 3 times in the game, because they just pinch every single time. So while it can be annoying to play a guy that pinches, because you know he is taking this away right now, I think I end up running it because I decide, you know what, I think I can get a couple yards off this and just make it a manageable 3rd down. That's my goal here. No, actually I did audible out of it. Okay, cool. So that's probably the smarter play, since he is pinching like that. So already see post snap, I'm just going to check down here. No, I ran it. That's a better decision too. Real-time me is smarter than analyst me. So let's look at this again. So I audible here. I easily could have gone to A. I clearly saw this guy starting to slide over. Like, he wasn't leaving this flat wide open. I could have completed it, but it only would have been about 2 yards. These guys are covered. Don't try it. And again, I could have gotten 4 or 5 yards there. Decide to roll out with Watson, pick up the 1st down, and then some. Back to 1st down. Again, I've already established that I'm a very willing passer out of 2 wide receiver sets. In this particular game, notice how like he's now in 2 deep. Now, I didn't audible into this run. This is one I picked, but this is what passing out on 1st down half the time. Again, I'm not saying, hey, go pass super heavy or be trying to go deep. The purpose of those passes is a quick, easy pass for like, 4 to 8 yards. But now I'm sitting here with only one wide receiver on the field, and I'm facing 2 deep safeties. Now the play didn't go for a lot, but like that's a hugely favorable formation for me, right? I only got a yard or two out of it, a yard, but that's how you are running into favorable formations. People are like, hey, I'm really struggling versus the run. Well, a lot of it is setting up to where you're running in favorable situations. So I've got 3 tight ends on the field, and I'm running into 2 deep safeties. Even though this was probably 3-4 personnel, in fact, it certainly was. He didn't have 8-9 guys in the box, so that's a favorable situation for the offense. 2nd and 9, even here, we're gonna see what pick. All right, so this is a good play to analyze. So philosophically, goal on 7 and 9 is not to go get everything, but you also don't want to get so focused on the short passes that you ignore big plays. So I like to put plays on the field that have, a couple of deep options, but also a couple of easy checkdowns to where I'm not sitting there just waiting for something to come deep that's not there. I've said this before, you should know within half a second to at most a second whether or not your deep route is available. Now, if this were he's been showing a lot of 2 deep safeties, right? So a seam is going to really pressure cover 2, both man and especially zone. In this particular case, he's showing what looks like cover 1, right? Everyone's kind of lined up over their guys. It very well could be cover 3 because these guys are back a little bit further than normal. So this is probably cover 3. It could be cover 1. It also could be something a little trickier, but we'll see. So A is unlikely to be available in cover 3. Y is unlikely to be available in cover 3. Probably be something like an X or an RB. I mean, this isn't a great play versus cover 3. So he slides. I'm going to slide. Let's see. Watch this. See if I do it. I'm kind of looking what my options are here. Yeah. See, am I getting out of this play? Yeah. So I got out of the play because that, and hopefully everyone kind of caught that. So I'm going to reiterate that one more time. So when I was looking at what my options were, but all right, well, so again, like A is streak. I'm not saying it's never going to be available, but generally speaking, I'm running right at this free safety from the inside position at that. So it's just not a great play. Comeback maybe, but this guy's going to go outside if I think it's cover 3. And also that's a long route. I just don't throw a lot of comebacks. They're really powerful, but I don't have the offensive line to rely on waiting for it all the time. Again, corner, it's not that it can never be hit, but oftentimes this deep guy is going to be sitting there waiting for it. And Hopkins on a little quick curl hitch play, he might have him covered. Sometimes they play off. It depends on the type of cover 3 he's called, but I don't want my only read to be a little 3-yard hitch. I'm willing to throw it. The whole point of that is supposed to be if everyone sags way off, you can go sometimes pick up an extra couple yards at the catch. It's not a bad check down, but you don't want your entire play to be a check down, right? You want, hey, I think A has a good chance of getting open. I'm going to look at A. If it's not there, cool, X or RB. And it's just everything is covered up. I said A is running the free safety. Also, RB is running at these 2 linebackers. So the only route on the field is this guy, and even he might not be available because really in a cover 3, he's going to be in a curl flat, and he's going to probably have that. So it's just not a good play. So I audible to just a quick basic slants type play. See what I throw. Not even sure what my read here is. It's probably B and RB just to be safe. Yep. So hit that B, curl flat. That's basically what that was, a curl flat, right? Like B comes on the inside and RB kicks out, right? That's basically a curl flat, which is good versus cover 3, especially when you're clearing it out with this tight end. Because that curl flat will take this guy or go to the flat with this guy. And in that case, the curl was open. So save that Texas play for another day. Again, you only have, like, you try not to call play more than like most of the plays I'll call 1 time. Every once in a while I'll call a few plays twice. But you shouldn't be calling passing plays 3 or 4 times. So if it's not a good look, get out of it and get back into it when it's a really effective look. Because that play that I had on the field is a really good play. But I want it versus a better defensive look, like cover 2, 2 deep safeties. That's what I was looking for there. All right, I don't remember what I called here. All right, so here we go. Just a basic little spot route. So So he's showing cover 2. So this may or may not be open. It's not like the best, but I like this little option route over here. Especially out of Fuller, it's not a bad little matchup there. So I'm kind of looking at this guy. Like, are these guys going to go help to the outside? In which case, this inside curl could be open. If this is cover 2. Also, this X could be open, or A. Like at this point right here, I know that this guy has to cover X and A, right? So, so he's going to have to make a decision for one or the other. All right, so he doesn't take X, and yes, that throw was as bad as it looked. But again, kind of like that out earlier where he just missed the throw. Like, that's a good throw. That's a great decision. I'll take that every single day of the week. No, I actually did not throw to RB, believe it or not. I remember this play very vividly because I was like, I can live with that. It's frustrating. It's not great, but like he's wide open. This guy commits to A. X is wide open. He's using to sort of protect against that middle guy. That's the right read. He just missed it by a mile. All right, let's cover defense. Since this was the first, basically after I loaded back in. Again, this is technically the first half, but effectively the second half. So here I'm going to show you what I do on defense. I've covered it before in chat. So I like to align man. I don't think man is better than others. The reason I like to align man is because I run a good amount of man, and I think it's better to disguise. You'll see on the occasional play. I don't know if it'll be on this stream or not, but occasionally this really messes with how things come out, and you'll see like zones are all over the place, and you need to base align to make everything normal again. But there are plenty of zones that will match up looking like man, but still the zones are in good position. So I like this. If you are a zone heavy team, then I would not do this. This is, if you are a man heavy team, this can be pretty good, because that way it just is one extra layer of disguise of when you're in man and when you're not. Again, like cover 3 can look like cover 1, but if they have trips to a side, it's going to be obvious that you're not in man coverage. Right? That's really what we're talking about, is when you're in trips. And guys like trips. Trips is a good formation, all the varieties of it. So with man, if instead of having an even formation like you'll see with zone, it'll bring an extra defender over to the trip side. You'll still have all the same zones on the field, but it'll be aligned to look like man coverage, and it'll kind of flood that trip side of the formation. Ball near defense, I do this every time. SWAT, I do think this is generally the best. I mean, I'm sure you'll get another couple of interceptions if you do play ball, but for me, I just get them off the field. Guys, I think do different stuff with cornerback matchups. I used to play with this a ton in Madden Night Team. I definitely believe in it. For me, since I play more men than ever, believe it or not, that makes me not want to do cornerback matchups. I'll talk more about that later. Like what I do is I like to know that I have like one very, very, very good corner. He's not quite elite, but he's very, very close. One decent corner, and then the rest are serviceable. So I generally have pretty decent matchups across the board, because that probably describes most wide receivers, right? You have a lot of teams have one very, very good wide receiver. A lot of teams have like a pretty solid number 2, maybe 80-ish overall, maybe a little bit above, and then some 70-something guys at 3 and 4, maybe even their second wide receivers in the 70s. So my matchups are usually like even, or sometimes even an advantage. But I don't necessarily want my top corner is 89. That's not good enough to go and just shut down, like an 88 wide receiver or a 90 wide receiver, or even an 86 wide receiver or something. Like that's an even matchup. That doesn't mean I can just leave him on an island and have him shut somebody down. So I would actually rather just know which side of the field he's on and use her accordingly. I'll go into more detail about that in a future recording. Tackling, it really depends on who I'm facing and what the running backs are like. In this case, he's got Derrick Henry, which I didn't want to do conservative tackling because I'm not worried about Derrick Henry juking me to death, and he doesn't really run very often with his little scat back. It's almost all Henry, and so I don't want Henry bowling me over for an extra 5 yards every time, and he's unlikely to juke or spin around me. For a lot of running backs, I do tackling conservative, like the most of the time. So what I'm doing there is, let's see if I go back to Big Nickel here. What you saw me do is actually subbed in Corey Leggett for Whitney Merciless. Whitney Merciless is a smaller like edge rusher that I do move to the interior just like in real life on true pass plays, true passing downs like a 3rd and long type situation. I'm not in big nickel right now, but what I did in big nickel is I swapped in a bigger, beefier lineman. Talked about this before. You want against 3 wide receiver sets, and this is a bad example because he's not out. I'll wait till he comes back out, and then I'll cover that again. I'm just in a basic 3-4 here. You know, it looks like I'm in cover 3, probably cover 3 sky. Especially, I know it's not the beginning of the game, but you know, especially at the beginning of drives, I'm going to start fairly vanilla. See if they make a mistake, kind of see what they want to do. Again, my goal is I don't want to give up chunk plays when you're on your own 25. Cover 3 sky is going to generally give up these short passes. It is what it is. But I don't want to give up chunk plays. You'll see I use her the safety. All right, so he's running the outside. I think he gets a pretty nice little gain here. But last, to open the game, I think he got like a 15-yard gain. So now he's got a 5-yard gain. I would have loved to have stuffed him. But again, the goal here is not to get negative yardage. So many people are so aggressive because they're desperate for those negative plays. I just want to get them in as many 3rd downs as possible. That's the goal. I don't want them to get a 1st down on 1st or 2nd down. That doesn't mean I succeed all the time, but if they're in a lot of 3rd and easies, they're going to fail at one point or time or another. So you'll notice I'm matching personnel pretty consistently against Perry almost all the time because he's got a good run game. I got to respect it. Like if don't be calling nickel against 2 wide receiver sets if you're playing a good run game. It might seem nice, but you can get punished by the better runners in the league. So in this, I didn't really like the coverage I was in, so I'm kind of swapping to something. Obviously made a little stick mistake. He checks down, gets his yardage, live to fight another day. I wasn't really in a great position there. So 3-4, actually, all right, so here's big nickel over G. So I had substituted Corey Legit in for Whitney Merciless right here. Again, the point is you need a nickel formation against 3 wide receivers on 1st down. Right, so a lot of people are going to come out in 3 wide receiver on 1st down, but the good teams will also run out of it. And so you don't want to be running, you don't want them to be running into a very light set where I have like 2 sub linebackers on the field. I had like an edge rusher on the inside. So I put some beef on the field. I've got the extra safety, right? So that's automatically a little bit better against the run. And you'll see I plug in, that's my sub linebacker, Dylan Cole, and I'm subbing in a better run stopping linebacker. So now what I've got is, and sure enough, there it is. Boom. 1st down, 3 wide receiver. Well, especially the Titans who have a good run game, but I'll generally do this against almost everyone. This is not a bad formation against the pass. Like I've got a safety. I got a 3rd safety on the field. Well, he's not bad against the pass. I've still got my 2 basic pass rushers and 2 good interior defenders. But instead of having like a 260-pound, defensive end moved inside, I have a legitimate interior defensive lineman right here to stop the run and 2 run stoppers at linebacker to stop the run. So this isn't bad versus the pass. It's not like I'm just going to be exposed as if I was in base formation, but you need a beefy nickel, right? That's what we're talking about, is for 1st down or even 2nd down. If you think they might run, but you don't want to play 3-4 or 4-3 against 3 wide receivers, naturally, get some personnel on the field where you can stop the run a little bit better. Now, Titans probably run more compressed sets than any team I've played. So I was kind of still adjusting at this point. I know he likes to run outside too. He's going to hit the drags. Drags are really, really good out of compressed sets, but it's very much stoppable. And there you go. So we got a beefy linebacker steps up because I didn't have like tiny linemen that just got bowled over. So you see, kind of did the same thing there. I kind of have some nickel sets where I like Legion in, and some where it's more of a true, send all out pass, 3rd and long, true passing downs formation. So play with your personnel, put them in good situations. I'll try to comment on why I'm doing some of these substitutions. So here, 2nd and 9, he's run 2 times in a row. So I'm kind of playing the odds here. He's in 3 wide receiver, but I'm in dime. So I went +1 DB here. It's a combination of 2 things. It's 2nd and 9. Now, some guys will run on 2nd and 9. I thought he was going to pass again because he's already run twice in a row. So this is a little bit of kind of playing hunches. I'm not saying, hey, if they're in 2nd and 9, go +1 DB. But I will do that if I'm like, hey, I think they're going to pass on this one and I want to dare them to run again. I might add an extra DB on the field and see if they start punishing it. In this case, they don't. They're passing it. He might still complete it. So good matchup there. Tight end, I think that's yeah, or no, that's Taiwan Taylor. Yeah. So this was actually like a tough matchup for me all game. His superstar wide receiver is coming out of the slot. I think that I started the game with my good cornerback there and I swapped him off. I don't remember if it happened before this or not, but that was a matchup problem for me all game. Basically, it's much easier in two wide receiver sets. He didn't have him on the field. It's easy to help over the top against a slot defender on that previous play, like when you have 3 wide out. It's actually hard to help in man coverage against a really good slot defender who's going outside. You can help inside, like a cover 1's good there, but like that, those outside breaking routes from a really good slot defender is tough. Here, just matched personnel. Again, like very vanilla philosophy here. He ends up passing out of that, so good for him. All right, we're gonna cover this one. This is that play. So this, again, it's basically 16-10 right now because I was up 3 at halftime when we disconnected. So it's 13-10, scored the field goal. This was obviously the game changer. So what am I saying? So I like, this is why I like to use the free safety, because deep blues of all kinds are bad in that they will not attack the deepest route. In the NFL, you're generally going to pick who needs help and attack that route. Now, this guy over the middle clearly has his guy beat, right? In the NFL, this guy be going here, maybe helping over the top, but he's picking something. He's not just dropping stupidly into nothing, which is what deep blues do in Madden. Cover 2 deep blues are actually even worse than cover 1s. At least cover 1 will generally stop a deep post. So it's higher difficulty, but if you learn to be safe, these are the types of plays you can do by using safety. So now, see how I'm attacking this route. So he's got to beat, right? So instead of what normally would beat the CPU, and this isn't me flying around the field with a linebacker doing weird stuff. Like, this is the type of thing that you'd see in the NFL. Perry decides to test me anyway, and that's all she wrote. All right, so I'm going to cut this one short. It's going to be a short one for tonight, but I'll see how this recording quality turned out, and look forward to doing some more of these in the future. Hope that was valuable to people. Feel free to ask me a few questions about other types of things that I've done in my games. I'm happy to cover really any sequence from any games. This was about 25 minutes, 30 minutes to cover 2 long drives. So I'll try to keep that in consideration. I probably won't do entire games. But if there's sequences you want me to kind of analyze a little bit, take a few minutes when I have time, happy to do that. All right, bye.